Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how I built up my confidence as a designer and also in business. I feel like the two really go hand in hand. There are people who are really good at design but not so confident in the business sector. That was kind of how I started out. And over the years, working with different coaches, different mentors, understanding the game of business, I feel so much more confident now in business as well as design. And that has just been a really good place to be. You have this sense of inner confidence going into partnerships, collaborations, deals, new clients, and you just have a better gauge of the worth of your work, the value that you bring, what you won't tolerate. And I think it's one of those things that if I could go back in time to have told my earlier self back 5-6 years ago when I started my business, not to obsess too much about the skill side of things, not to obsess too much about being the best designer, but at the same time that being the best in design is important, but it's not necessarily what's going to get you business. It's not going to be what will make you successful. If you are an amazing designer, and there are so many incredible designers in the world, but who lack the knowledge of business or sales, then they will only ever stay capped at a certain point, right? And it doesn't matter how amazing you are. If you are in the game of business, you are in the game of business, and you really need to understand the full spectrum. So today what I wanted to talk about is just certain things that I did based on my own experience that really helped me overcome that imposter syndrome, overcome that initial who am I to be doing this sort of thing, and to really build up my confidence both in design as a designer and also in just the world of business. And yeah, so let's get started. I think I have 11 points to make. So I'm going to touch on first the upskilling part of things as a designer, and then I'm going to move on to the business side of things. So the first one is obviously to upgrade your own skills. If you are just starting out, depending on whether or not you went to design school, I never did. My background was in photography and corporate background. And so I had no design skills in the sense of I didn't know how to use Photoshop, I didn't know how to use Adobe XD, didn't know how to code, didn't know how to use any of the Adobe things, and I had to learn from scratch. And so one of the best investments I made at the start of my business, and this was at the very, 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 very start, 2 courses. One was Paige Brunton's Square Secrets business course. So that was the first course I ever took and ever invested a big chunk of money in. And it was so scary for me at the time. But initially, I had built my own website. I had built 2 family friends' website as well. And I was confident I can build websites. And this was without code at the time. And I just didn't know how to turn it into a business. I was I can do the thing. I just don't know how to make the thing a business and charge appropriately for it, or how to create a process, how to actually make it feel legit, right? And when I came across her course, it was okay, everything I needed to know, onboarding, systems, processes, how to get leads, how to do your marketing, what to write, how to onboard clients and offboard clients, and basically everything you need on a silver platter. And I was oh my gosh, this is perfect. And so I invested in the course, and within 2 weeks, before I even finished the course, I booked in my first $2,000 client. I was wow. It just gave me the confidence to be able to do that, because when you can see and learn from somebody who has walked the path, who has done the thing, and you are using the methods that they use, you're kind of borrowing confidence in a way. And that was a great start for me. I would never have been able to charge $2,000 on my first official client if I didn't already see that it was possible elsewhere. So it was all the past student stories, her own story. I was wow, I know so many people now, not personally, but like I know of so many people who have made this happen, and so why not me as well? And so it's almost like that aspect of things really helped to instill the possibility, the belief that it is possible. I can also do it because other people have done it, so why not me? And so that's where that was really helpful. So it was like how to and set up a business, get it up and running ASAP, all the systems I needed to implement. Obviously, I still needed to implement it myself, and then just the confidence, the belief. And she's actually running a free website, web designer bootcamp coming up. So if you're interested in that, I will pop the link down below. If you're interested in making a business out of your website design or starting website design, she also walks you through how to design websites without code, and then also how to turn it into a business. As a past student, can highly recommend it. You can check it out in the link description below. The second course that really changed my life. So this was about maybe half a year or a year after taking Paige's course, and I was like, I feel really limited by the fact that I can't code. And because I build a lot of my websites on Squarespace, I was like, I just feel like there's so much more I want to do, to create, to let my imagination run wild. And I couldn't do that because I didn't know how to code. And now the platform is much more fluid. But at the time, if you really wanted to make unique websites, you really needed to know how to code. So the next course that I invested in was Rachel's Square Stylists Standout Squarespace course. So everything to know about coding, strip back to the basics of like, what is HTML, what is CSS, what is JavaScript, what is jQuery, how to code specifically for the Squarespace platform as well. And that was so handy. Like I mean, it's not for everybody. I never thought I could code. I always told myself, oh, Emily, you're more the artistic type. You're not intelligent enough or academic enough, or you're not like analytical enough to code. And I had all these like limiting beliefs. But what was so interesting was when I finally learned how to code, it just unlocked something in me. And I just loved it. It was like creating magic. You would just write a line and then something would happen. And then you'd write a couple more lines and then like this magical animation effect would happen. And you're just like, oh, I made that happen. And that feeling has never left me. I still love coding. I try not to overcomplicate the code, right? There's a fine balance because the more codes you instill, the slower the page load speed. So it's like a fine balance between special effects, really like essential codes versus overcramming it, right? So anyway, love the process, learned so much from Rach. She is an absolute genius. She is the most generous person you will ever meet, the most generous teacher in terms of her time, sharing her knowledge, consistently giving back to the community, coming up with new, wild features and incredible codes for us. She's just amazing, and I highly recommend her course as well if you're looking to get into coding specifically on the Squarespace platform. I also took a Shopify coding course as well. Also recommend that. If you are interested, I will also link those down below. I think she has like a free course and some free resources if you want to just dive into it, see if it's your thing. You can find them in the description below as well. And the third thing is never doing work for free. And I really stand by that. I've never done a website for free. There was a one time I did it for a pro bono, it was a not-for-profit organization, and in return, they're giving me like a free trip to the Amazon jungle, one of their expeditions, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And it was for a really amazing cause, and their YouTube channel has like, 500K plus subscribers. So I was like, it was good exchange for me, and I wanted to give back in terms of like helping nature, organizations, etc. This is the only pro bono work I've ever done. But apart from that, I've always charged for my projects. I've never done free work, don't believe in free work, because they don't, two things why. And I know a lot of designers, some designers that I mentor as well, they come to me and I'm like, okay, so tell me about your clients. They're like, yeah, so I did this free work for this person and this other one, I felt like I couldn't charge so much because I'm not an expert yet at what I do. So I like lowered the prices, etc. And I look at them and I'm like, damn, you know, like, do you want more clients like this? Because what you say yes to, you are saying yes to more of these clients, please. So if you say yes to free clients who don't value your work, who take you for granted and don't know what to do with the website that you built them, then you're saying to the universe, yes, I want more of these clients. And we don't want that, because what happens, let's say you think that if you do good work, they will tell other people about you. They will tell other budget client, low budget client friends about you, that you did free work for them, and then they're going to come back to you and be like, hey, I heard that you did free work for my friend. Do you think we could work out like a free exchange, a collaboration, or a discounted rate for me as well? You don't want that, right? And so it's like, set your standards from the get-go. And it's not just like, it's not even about setting standards for your clients, it's about setting standards for yourself. What are you not available to accept from the universe? And we want paying clients, we want good paying clients. And it's okay to start off with lower rates, but like, honestly, if you're a website designer, if you take Paige's course, for example, and if you were to take Paige's course, you should not be accepting projects or websites for anything less than 2,500 USD, I think. I would say even 3,000. If you were to take Rachel's Square Stylist, her Stand Out Squarespace course, I wouldn't accept anything less than like 4,000 or 5,000 even after taking that course, depending on just how confident you feel in your design, right? In your value. And that, I'll speak on it a little bit later as well, but a huge part of your value isn't just your design, but also how well you know the industry and the business knowledge that comes into it. Like knowing about lead generation, knowing about marketing, knowing about sales, knowing about like content creation, like understanding the different aspects of what makes a website successful and how to strategically build it in a way that actually gets them more leads or sales. And so I preface this to say like design is important, but then also understanding business is really important as well. So anyway, to that point, never do work for free. It helps ultimately you the most in your confidence. You won't settle for less, right? And yeah, I mean, if you think about it from a relationship sense, you won't settle for someone where you put in 100% of the effort and they put in nothing. Like, why would you settle for that? Just because they stayed? That's not a good enough reason. So, okay, number 4, studying other people's design. Like going on your Explore feed or connecting with other designers and exploring their work, ones that really like make you feel something, that you really feel drawn to. And don't just Pinterest it to your board, you know, like really study it. Study the typography, maybe even reach out to them and ask them what fonts they use. If you know how to use the inspect tool on your browser, you can also see what fonts they used. And you can also see very exactly like what was the letter spacing they used, what was the font weight they used, all of that. So like you can study fonts, you can study colors. There are tools you can use on your Chrome extension where you can pick a color on the page and you can see what colors they use. So if you like a particular color pairing, you can save that for a future project, right? But also studying like the contrast, what types of color, what shades of color, how many colors did they use, right? Maybe they only used 2 colors and you're like, wow, but it feels so elevated. And then you might study websites that you don't like so much and you'll notice that they use 5 different colors. You're like, okay, so less is more sort of thing, right? Or you might study the way they have designed a logo and you're like, wow, this is so simple. There's only one actually like element that has been added to it. Whereas you might see a lot of trendy fonts, a trendy logo. So you kind of just like studying other people's designs. You're like, oh, okay, I am more of this person, a minimalist person or a maximalist person. I'm more of a trendy designs person rather than a elegant classical person, you know, like, and then you get to study what makes a design minimal yet elevated, what makes a design feel, I don't know, funky and cool, you know, like you get to understand the different personalities and what design elements make it so. And I think that's really important to study and to have in the back of your head, because it really broadens your versatility as a designer. And then from there, you can kind of whittle it down to, this is my style, this is what I do best, this is what I know and have studied the best. Perfect. Number 5, working with other designers or working with other, like, kind of like white label designers, let's say they brought in the client, but they don't know how to develop, so they hired me to develop the design that they make. For example, that could be you, that could be someone else. And what has been really beautiful about that is, like I said to the point before, you get to really study how someone thinks, and you get to really study how they piece the different elements together and the different limitations that you have that they might not have, based on maybe you study different designers or you build on different platforms. And that has just massively what I previously thought was possible, because maybe I build on Squarespace and I think about it from that perspective, but a different designer might just design on Adobe XD or Figma and they have no preconceived limitations of what is possible, and they just let their imagination go wild. And that has been actually an amazing source of inspiration for me. And I really love that. So shout out to Pam from RR Designs. I'm going to link her down below just because I really am so inspired by her work. And yeah, she's a magical human being, beautiful energy. And she really brings that into her designs as well. And yeah, just for inspiration, check her out. I love her work. So number 6, and now we are over on the business side of things. So things that I learned, did, that really accelerated and helped me develop my confidence in business in general. And one of the first things that I wish I had learned earlier, but I just resisted for so long, is learning the art of sales. And when I say that, I don't just mean like learn the manipulative one-liner scripts that you can say to get people to do what you want and all of that toxic shit. None of that. What I really mean, because that is what I initially thought sales was. What sales really is how to positively influence and motivate the person to do what it is that they actually want to do, but they just feel the fear of doing it. And the reason why they're not taking that step is because they're scared, but they actually really want to take the step. So it's really like how to coach somebody through to take the action that they actually want to take, so that they can get the result and the outcome that they actually want to have. And sales, if you look at it from that healthy perspective, is really just an act of service, right? You're helping people get to where they want to be. And sales isn't just in business. It's not just how to sell your product or how to sell your course or how to sell your whatever it is that you want to sell, but it's also like how to sell an idea, right? How to sell a vacation to your partner or to your friends, that you should go away on a group trip to Sicily together, for example. It's like, how do you embody that influence in your life, just personally, not just in business? I think sales is one of the most important skills you could have in life. I really swear by it. And a huge part of that is also like learning the art of detachment. You cannot be desperately wanting the sales. You cannot be attached to the outcome of the sale. You really learn through that process the art of detachment while just being in service of the other person, right? And so it's, for me personally, it has actually been deeply spiritual, and I've learned a lot about myself, and I've grown so much as a person through the process of learning sales from incredible mentors, and also sales psychology, sales energetics, like the frequency that you send out. Like, so much of that comes into play, and yeah, I just highly recommend looking into that more. If that sales is a word that really like gets you feeling resistant, then and lean into it. Like, what is there to learn? How much is there to grow by leaning into this? And I would say a lot, and really frees you up and makes business less scary when you learn the art of sales. Number 7, so taxes and company structure. Learning tax efficiency and learning company structure that helps you maximize your tax efficiency. And I know that some people be like, oh my God, like you should pay taxes and all this shit. I do pay taxes, but I would like to not pay more taxes. Like if you, like, because the thing is, if you know that there's a ceiling, and if you earn above that, if you make above that, that you're just going to get penalized, that actually kind of disincentivizes you from growing your business. And it wasn't until the point where like I had set up my business and companies in a way where like it maximizes my tax efficiency while being here. And yes, I still pay taxes, but it's done in a legal way. Everybody's different based on like where your citizenship is, where your residency is, where your business is based, what type of business you have, like is it e-commerce, product based, is it a digital based, etc. Understand that, and you will just uncap this like lid of limitation on how much you can make when you know that you don't have to pay 45% of everything that you make. So look into that. Number 8, having amazing friends around you who inspire you and have big ideas and think big, dream big. You're just like, wow, I'm so inspired by my friends and what they see as possible for them. It is so wild to me, some of the businesses that they're building and what they're working on. I'm just like, wow. And I feel like comparatively, I am the smallest fish in the sea. And I look at them and I'm just like, you guys are amazing, like what you can dream of. And so I think it's really important to have friends like that, because it makes you realize just like how much more there is, and how limited you make yourself feel in your bubble. So like really get out there, talk to people who inspire you, be friends with them, and allow yourself to be opened by the world of possibilities through their own imagination. And yeah, I just think that has been a huge catalyst to my own growth and what I have seen as like possible for me. Because back 5 years ago, what was possible for me was like, I don't know, working a minimum wage job, maybe hopefully a little bit more, and not having to worry about my rent. And if I could ever get an apartment by myself, that would have been like, you know, like I made it kind of thing. And just like the life I get to live now, and the quality of life, the things I get to do, get to experience, I feel genuinely so grateful, and it has been a huge thanks to the people around me, my friends who also live that life and inspire that life. Number 9, investing in masterminds and coaches or mentors has been huge, because you borrow, you learn from their mistakes, you learn from their success, and you basically just 10x your growth because you're just skipping over. They're already there, and you get to collapse that timeline. And every time I've worked with a mentor, every time I've worked with a coach or been part of a mastermind, I've just accelerated my growth like 10x. So that's something that you're interested in, send me a message, comment down below. I do occasionally from time to time take in one-on-one students to mentor as well. So if you're interested in that, I will have a link down below. Number 10, understanding different structures and different business models of lead generation. So like understanding social media lead generation, understanding YouTube SEO lead generation, understanding in-person referral lead generation. There's so many different types of business models and different types of businesses. And the more you can understand that by connecting with more people, entrepreneurs, founders, the more you upskill and the more you increase your level as a person, as a service provider, as a designer as well, because they're like, oh, you get it. Like, she gets it. I feel confident that she's going to design something because she gets my business model. She gets my lead generation model. So that's really important. Number 11, my favorite one. leading with generosity, and not just, I think when you're starting out, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to make money, I need to grow my business. And you're in this like energy of desperation of like take, and you forget to give back. And one of the most important lessons I've learned from my mentors, my coaches, is to lead with generosity. It doesn't mean to give your work away for free. It does not mean to devalue your work and to give it to people who don't deserve your time or your energy, but it is to like lead with generosity, to help other people, to help people in your community, and to exchange in favors. Sometimes you never know what might come back, right? And what you send out echoes back to you. So those are my list of 11 things that I've learned that has really helped me upskill in my design, in my business in general. I hope this helped you, and if you have any questions, please comment down below. If you like this video and you want to see more of these, then hit subscribe, and you will find all the links to what I mentioned in this video about the different courses, mentorships, etc. in the description box below, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.